Hello everyone, hello. Welcome to Amiga30UK. So thank you everyone for coming. It's fantastic to see so many people here. Not everyone's checked in yet, there's going to be more. We've got a fantastic lineup for you today. I hope everyone is staying at the hotel is having a great time. They're all looking after you at the hotel, yeah? I'm going to ask my first guest to come on. It's our mystery guest, and I'm sure you'll all be wondering, who is this guy? He might be not a name you recognise, but it's a name, personally, I think everyone in this room should know. I'm sure you've all heard, you know Fred Fish, you've heard AmiNet, I think these guys have done a hell of a lot for the Amiga. In the Amiga's prime, the internet didn't exist. It was all done on bulletin boards, people connected via bulletin boards. That's how the online community met. That's how Amiga owners interacted. The guy I'm about to go on stage ran the largest Amiga bulletin board in Europe, and he spent quite a bit of money to bring the Amiga community together. So it's with great pleasure I'd like to introduce to the stage our first guest, Tony Miller, System Operator of 0 for Amiga BBS.
Good afternoon to you. As you've heard, my name's Tony Miller. I think the introduction was exaggerated slightly. I always just saw myself as an Amiga user. I went out in 1985 and upgraded from a Commodore PET with 4K of memory to my very first Amiga, and I was delighted. What am I going to do with 512K of memory and a floppy disk drive?
You'll never need that much memory.
Sorry?
You'll never need that much memory.
What would I do with that amount of memory? It's just too much. So each month I would wait for the magazines coming out. I was desperate for the floppy disks, the 720K of shareware and freeware that was on the front of this magazine. And I bought all the magazines. And I just could not get enough of this. And then of course they started to release a second floppy disk which had demos on it and examples of games that were about to release. I wanted all of this, and I wanted more. So I bought a modem. And I wanted to be able to access the local BBSs around the country to see if I could acquire more files and more demonstrations and actually show off to my friends what a fantastic machine that I had purchased. So you ring this number, and through the modem you hear, through the speaker, you hear some voice go, "This BBS is only on at night time, please don't call during the day." Okay, not that one then. Or when you did ring, it was engaged because everybody else that had a modem was also trying to download. So the answer is quite simple. I've got to set my own bulletin board up, and I had exactly the same problem that all the other BBSs had, in that it was always busy. And everybody would be complaining that I could never get on because it's busy. So you buy a second modem, and you buy a third modem. And before long, people are actually calling not just to download files, but to actually chat between modem and modem and actually share what's going on. And you would join in a SysOp, a conversation where you would hear one guy in Essex talking to another guy in Gloucester about how about you put your Amiga in the back of your car and you drive for 3.5 hours so that the two of us can play a game against each other for an hour in my house. We're nutters. We're all nutters. It was such fun. So it's 4 modems, it's 5 modems. Now I've got a problem, how do you get more serial ports into an Amiga? You need multiple Amigas. And of course that's got the same problem that I have a single floppy disk drive that's always got the wrong floppy disk in for the caller that's coming. So you end up going out and buying a 6-platter CD-ROM and having to find a way of burning onto this all the floppy disks. And then of course you learn about Fred Fish that sells. So you buy the whole collection so that people can actually download these whenever they want, straight through. And the next thing you know, you've got somebody like Steve saying, the largest BBS in Europe. It ended up, by the time it finished, with 16 lines, all running US robotics, 19.2 modems. It became the FIDO-net distribution for mail in the UK. It had 2 of these 6-platter CD-ROMs, and it ended up with 36 terabytes of hard disk space. Now, where do you get that amount of hard disk space? I used to go into dumpsters in the city and take Winchester 40 meg drives out of a skip, take it back, trying to add it to the SCSI network that I had created, trying to find a way of terminating it in a way that would actually, you know, that the Amiga would be happy with, that would still work for the drive. And then when you switch the thing on, you find that half the sectors were damaged, which was why it was in the skip in the first place. So you've only got 20 megs on this one, and you've got another one stacked on top of that that's got 30 megs, and another one was nearly 40 megs, and you start building these up. You didn't need radiators in my house. The heat from the Amiga itself was enough to actually keep the place warm. But today, we are here to celebrate Amiga 30. There isn't a Macintosh 30. There isn't a PC 30. There's an Amiga 30. It's just a piece of hardware, isn't it? It's just a computer, just like a Mac, and just like a PC. But it isn't. And it never was. It never will be. Amiga was about community. It was about passion. It was about a group of people that were actually thrilled to show their friends this piece of kit. I don't have people come around my house so I can show them my PC. Who wants to go and see somebody's PC? It doesn't happen. But to show off your Amiga was something special. And yes, we would drive hundreds of miles with the Amiga in the boot so that we could actually link up, spend 3 hours setting it up, so that we could play for 10 minutes against this person we just met through a BBS or through a magazine. It was about community. It's always been about community. And as a result, the Amiga is one of those machines that is never going to die. Sadly, BBSs did die. Because along came the internet and actually meant that instead of having to pay ridiculous amounts on a 14.4 or a 28K modem, you could now have a 2 meg connection straight onto the internet and exchange mail, exchange files. So BBSs saw their day as FidoNet died, as Usenet started to dwindle, and everything became internet and email. The use for BBSs started to dwindle. And of course the files, suddenly you could buy a hard drive yourself for 3.5 inch, maybe £800 for 40 megs, but you could buy it. So people started to have hard drives in their machines and started to be able to store their own files up, and therefore we saw the end of the BBSs. I reckon, and when Steve invited me to come along and do this, I thought, I'm going to do a maths in my head. How much money did I spend on Amigas over the years? Because I did have, in the end, 3 500s. I had 1,000, my first one that I never let go of, a couple of 2,000s. I had all this kit. How much did I actually spend? I stopped at about £12,000 and thought, I daren't continue working out what I've spent here. This is way too scary, and if my wife even hears the amount of money that I've actually spent, it could end our marriage. And yet, I think about the money, and I think that every single penny of that money brought me so much enjoyment on so many levels. I met some fantastic people. 2 of my very, very best friends today, friends that I could ring up and say, guys, my whole life's just collapsed, I've lost my job, I've got no money, I've got nowhere to stay tonight, would say, don't even hesitate, come and stay with me. I met them through Amiga. And that's what makes, for me, the Amiga that special machine that will always be in my heart. I thank you for that. But what I need to say, and this is, there's going to be some VIPs. We're wearing VIP bands. We're just Amiga users. Our passion for Amiga was all that mattered, then and now. We're not VIPs, we're just Amiga users that were a little bit more mad than the rest of you. And actually wanted to take it to the next level. I was very lucky. I actually was able, because I was in there day one, because I invested and made so many friends, and because I invested so much money and needed to recover some of it, I was forced to actually go into business with desktop publishing, and I got paid for the FidoNet and the rest of it. I was able at 35 just to say enough, quit, and actually start doing something that I wanted to do with my life. Steve found me because today I run one of the largest homeless centres in London, taking care of people on the streets. Something Don't clap, I have to use PCs and Macs to do it. It's my passion today, but it was only possible because of the days that I was in with Amiga and was able to actually not only enjoy it, but to actually make a living from this fantastic machine. Now, has anybody got any questions? Can anybody remember 01 for Amiga? Got one here, just one. Two there, we've got a second one. 3, 4, 5, that's it, let's go. Did anybody use BBSs in the day? Did everybody have a modem connected up? Well, you're all mad. You are. I mean, if you consider what we're talking about today, in my house alone I have 4 100 meg pipes coming in today. We used to be messing around with 14K. You'd kiss goodbye to an hour and a half to download a file that would only last 10 seconds on your PC, on your Amiga once you'd run it.
Still faster than Virgin, mate.
It's still, yeah. What was the reason? Why BBSs? In the sense of, was it the mail? Was it the forums? Was it the files? What was it about them that actually attracted people to want to actually buy this equipment, connect it up to their Amiga and connect to the outer world?
It's communications.
It was communication, wasn't it? It was.
About talking to people.
Yes. It was about the people. It was about the friendships that developed. It was about the exchanging of ideas. And a lot of the companies that existed were able to actually share ideas and share the passion that they had for it through those sort of moments. The shows were great. I've got to say, guys, I was saying when I came in here today, the last Amiga show I went to, it was packed solid. They were all kids. I see most of you are here today just a bit older. There were stands demonstrating Amigas, there was software development, there was demos, it was alive, it was buzzing, and there were women walking around with long legs, big boobs, and Amiga t-shirts on and very little else. I was saying, where are they? It's very disappointing. But there was that buzz, there was that vibrancy, there was that, you walked in, you're having fun. You want me to step back?
That's it.
It's not coming in, it's feedback, is it? Coming back. Sorry guys, it's feedback coming back. There was that buzz in the room that actually meant that you didn't mind spending all day walking around with your carrier bags, going back to the same stands to see the same demonstration yet again. It's hard to describe for me, but if I lived my life again today and Amiga wasn't in it, would it be the same? Would the PC, would the Macintosh, would the iPhone, would any of that actually have happened the way it has happened if Amiga did not exist? I don't think it would. I think there would be differences, there would be different machines out there, but I think that the Amiga's contribution and the people's contribution to what we have today is actually underestimated. I think even the internet that exists today and the way it's laid out actually has a lot to do with those BBSs, the exchange of emails, the need to communicate with other users, the exchange of files. None of it, I think, would actually be in the format it is today if it wasn't for the Amiga and those BBSs, but most importantly, those people. You people. Me. All of us that are Amiga users with a passion that we will not let die. So, can I call it a day?
You can. Yeah.
We're done. Marvellous.
So a round of applause, folks.
Don't clap me, because I need to clap you. I want to say to all of you, I still am passionate about the Amiga. I have had a good life, and a lot of it is because of the friendships that I have made through Amiga and the actual enjoyment of Amiga. So without you, I wouldn't have had that either. So it is that very special relationship that exists between everybody in this room and the wider community across the world that makes Amiga so special. So I say thank you to you.
Does anyone have any questions? We've got a few minutes.
I got a question.
Hello, RJ. How are you? Who's that fellow? Anyone recognise him? What would you like to ask, RJ?
So, you know, you talk about BBSs and I remember fondly that energy. I think everyone can hear me. So you talk about BBSs, and I remember with great delight the kind of the fun, the joy, the energy, the communication, even the collaboration that we would have with each other in those environments. Where has that energy gone, do you think? Where do we go today to have that same sort of interactive communications and not just, you know, making comments on someone's blog post, but where do you go? Where should we be going these days to connect up with that energy again?
I think, what do we call it? Hello, Nick. I think that it still exists, but not to the same level. There is the internet and its forums nowadays, it's news groups that we actually choose to join, and then get fed up when we get bombarded with rubbish that we don't want to actually get, read each day. But it still exists, but in a different format, and it's not a better format, it's just a different format. For me, the advantage of the BBS was to actually know that the person you were communicating with, you could communicate live with, rather than through just email or through messaging, directly with, all through the same connection. That's what gave it its vibrancy and its buzz, the fact that, and then somebody else could join in the conversation. We've lost that. And it's very difficult. It's going to sound weird, this, but let me just tell you. When I started working with homeless people and we saw 30 or 40 people come through the door, you would make a tray of tea or coffee and you could take it out and say, would you like a cup of coffee? Would you like a cup of tea? And while you were doing that, you'd have an introduction, you'd say hello, you'd say who they were, who you were, and then it's not 40, it's 100, then it's 300. And now you can't take it out on a tray, it has to actually be done through an urn on the wall where you help yourself to. It's far more efficient, it actually serves more people, and it loses what it was about, which was saying, hello, my name is, who are you, can I give you a cup of coffee? That's what we've done with the internet. We've actually made it far more efficient, we can serve more people, and we've made it less personal and more about anonymity. Sad, but it's the only way, because everybody's on the internet, everybody's on these groups, you just can't keep it down to that personal group like this and share direct where you can just walk over and talk to somebody. So, horses for courses.
I'd just like to ask you one more question, and then we're going to hand it over to Dan and Randy. You ready? Yeah. You mentioned how much you spent on the equipment. There's one thing missing in your talk. How much was your phone bill each month?
Guys, hold on. You've got to understand, there was no discounted rates in those days. There was no special if you rang it at midnight or anything. I had to call the States on a regular basis to collect FIDO-net. I had to deliver it and collect from the Europe. So my phone bills were always in excess of £3,000 a month. every month. I don't know if the person's in this room, but I owe one person a huge thank you. I had about 2,500 users in the UK, a few from abroad calling in. I had about 6 or 7 lines at the time, and somebody wrote an editor's letter to Amiga User International and said they had found pornography on my BBS. They hadn't.
You did it too well.
My membership went to 7,500 in a week. I was able to install 0891 lines from BT so that people queuing up that couldn't get in on the normal 6 or 7 lines could now call on another series of lines and pay to actually communicate. Oh. As a result, I was actually able to recoup about £700 or £800 a month from people calling in to actually look for the porn that wasn't there. But to end up, I finished, I think, with about 11,000 UK-based users calling the BBS on a regular basis. But it still costs £3,000 a month to pay the BT. I really, sorry, the question was, are you sure I didn't write the letter? I wish I'd had the intelligence to understand how it worked, because today I would write that letter every week.
Thank you so much, Tony. I think you will see why I wanted Tony to come today, is because that is what Amiga is about, at least to me, and I hope to all of you. It's about community, and it's about you know, that kind of passion to bring everyone together. And you know, there is something magic about Amiga. You can't deny it. You don't find it with Macintosh and with, you know, other systems. And you know, Tony's right when it comes to bulletin boards and the internet now. It's lost something. It's more, and you know, people just download what they want. There isn't that personal interaction with the system operator, and people are used to connect with people in their local community this way. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I don't want to deep. It's time for Dan and Ravi. I believe they've got a little something for us. So I'd like to invite them to come on stage.